Or if it flies at you, I mean, you can just get blasted, right? And that Sivir will give you a very important spell shield there. Very important spell shield. So that's your full draft. It's in chat. That's it. And Geo as well. Neilcat. I mean, everyone. And we hope that you're having a fun time. Let's get ourselves into the LPL, hit the Geos, and get into game 1. I like the Shenzhen acoustics. Way walking in for the level 1 on Raptors. Kez walking over, as is Breathe. Breathe's dealing with Hoya. But I don't think Guon actually... I don't think that Wei wants this if the Orianna's hitting him. Now, what does Wei do now? Gets the double Q. Breathes here. Has the Q. Starts to stack it again. Silent Q goes wide. Orianna's had to go back to lane. And Orianna is the best level 1 champion out of the ones here because of the Clockwork Wind-Up. Because Orianna has to go back to lane, NIP can't defend their Raptors. It is a good invade. The Nocturne gets value. This is the power of the Nocturne. Now, I know in other places in the world, you think, oh, but you have to pick Nocturne for the combo. Well, ish. In LPL, you can just pick it for the level 1 lane dominance. Now, Wei's going to go Raptors to Raptors. Hits the Q onto Care for a little bit of poke. Bot lane, Assume and Draw. Doing fine here, though. Assume and Draw. So often when we think about NIP are the first names that you think of because they've had such a good level of 2v2. Hey, John. How's it going? I'm Pintiless. Good to see everyone. NIP is such an unpredictable team. They're a very aggressive, creative team. Vi's going to skirt around. Vision very nearly on the Q flash there from Draw. Makeup looking for the roots. Manages to get that. Another Q on target. Level 1 from Jatchis can't fire back appropriately. Summoner's blown. Even-ish in terms of XP. Feels like this game is actually quite big for both teams. Yeah, if NIP end up winning their 2 series this week, they end up going 7-5, which is genuinely a very good result for them. I think it's beyond what I would have put for them. Even if they go like completely even in series, 7-7 across the 14 splits. Gosh, he's got no barrier there actually. Was a little bit of danger. Yeah, IG are a team that found a lot of success in the opening 2 weeks of the split and then have struggled since. IG, after this series, will be playing... actually, they're going to be playing in their new arena. They have an arena in being built in Shanghai, or rather, they've acquired one, right? It was a studio that was set up for Huya Broadcasting in Shanghai. I believe it was actually set up for some Blizzard project, but then there was, you know, the company split of like NetEase and Blizzard. So it's ended up being kept around. It was a very big personal investment from the IG investors, effectively. It's from the IG owner. But now they have themselves an IG arena. They'll be debuting that in week 7. Wei's walking over for a red buff steal, potentially. Contesting is very hard. And this is what you do with an Nocturne. You just walk at enemy camps. And people don't have a fun time of it. Now he's looking for the smite fight. Guon, does he stick for it? Oh, he doesn't get it. Oh, and now Guon's just queued in to lose a red buff. That is... probably flash blown. Does he manage to stick around to his Q being back up? I'm actually not sure about this one. He flashes late. I mean, Guon gets the Q on target. Wei might die for this, but Guon just flipped the entire early game for a red buff smite, which he missed. I mean, that's Guon for you. Incredible player when he's ahead. Like I said, it's very entertaining watching Guon, whether he wins or loses, because he will just do stuff like this. Oh, God. That is funny as hell. Guon may have just flipped the entire game off of a red buff. He probably should have just left. Why did he flash so late? That's a great question. Yeah, that's a great question. Why did he flash so late? So he gets hit by the Nocturne Q, goes down lower and lower, tries to go forwards for the Q on target, but Wade very intelligently stands in front of the red buff so the Q can't connect. So he gets hit by the Q too, but realizes, I don't care. Got red buff, got Fear Tether. Stacks up the lethal tempo. Oh, sorry, the Conqueror here. And Guon, I mean, just flash early, no? I suppose Wei would have flashed to follow. No wall stun lands on. So when you get... I can't believe that he lives for that, man. But Wei gets a... He's double the CS of Guon. Now, he's got himself, you know, 10 camps. Guon's only just got his 6th. Guon, interesting player, folks. I understand why you might frustrate the heck out of some people because of how inconsistent he sometimes is. Mako landing the route to turn around what was a pretty good trade from Suman Dwarf. Nier's coming down, has the level 6. He's forcing them to pay respect. They'll tunnel out. Sometimes it's worth doing that, by the way, just roaming bot lane as a mid laner when you have a break in waves, just to allow the other, your bot lane to have a little bit more pseudo pressure, right? Nier's doing fine in mid lane here versus Care. What has Guon got to do on the map? He's got a call field. Doesn't have. Wait, he didn't even go for the HP components of Tunneler. He's going for call fields, which gives you slightly faster farming, right? Because of the cooldown reduction. No HP on it though. Guon clearing through his Krugs to go to his Raptors. He's kind of off the board for a bit now though. Like, Guon's not in a happy spot. Raw roaming around the map. Tried to save his jungler the last time. Couldn't manage to get there in time. Raptors respawn being contested over. Wei is very close to having his level 6 off of these stolen camps too. Guon doesn't have flash reminder. Loses a third of the HP from just some random skill shots. Cap. He does have shockwave. Might actually be a case where you shockwave into it. That was actually a potential 3-man. Gets the 2-man after. But the shockwave doesn't really feel like it's done that much because the camp's already gone. Hoyle was roaming down for it. But you can see that NIP, you know, so kind of dependent on how Guon is doing. Mako, queued out of fucking board. He just dies. Nier flies in. They've got the magical journey. How much extra damage have they got? Not that much. So Nier flies in, gets some damage in, but not a crazy amount. Nier get a decent trade onto Cap. Means that his ultimate isn't for nothing. Ult for nothing, and your kicks for free. So I hear. It's Roa Orianna. Okay, so the reason it's Roa Orianna is because if you go into a Nocturne Akali, you're gonna die on cooldown. If you go for Blackfire Torch or Seraphs, you do just die. I saw, like, I understand it. Look, Roa Orianna, it is bad when you're playing for an aggressive combination, but more importantly, you need to actually live in your individual matchup. I mean, if you remember World's play-ins last year, Faker versus Rookie, Rookie actually played very well versus Faker on the Orianna Akali matchup, and he still got solo kill. It's really hard to play that matchup in side lanes. At least this NIP roster is fun to watch. They're very fun to watch. They're very fun to watch. I like this NIP roster. They're fun. Are they a top team? No, not truly. But can they beat them? Yeah, they can. They remind me a little bit of, well, maybe not in draft, but they remind me a little bit of, you know, OMG 23, of that kind of upstart team that has a good upper ceiling and can take games off of some traditionally very good rosters. Shockwave back and available for Care. Game is still just being ran by Wei. Guon puts the ward over the wall. Could potentially walk up and smite, but is afraid of Nier. Nier's had a good harbor there. Yeah, far. Wherever Akali are. See if he jumps in for that ultimate. That's off cooldown. Nope, it's going to be 2 for 1 in the grubs. Guon manages to secure the last one. Anything else to really track for the slight lane swap is assuming draw did move up for a potential grubs plane. So it's basically what we see with lane swaps before role quests get brought into the game is, hang on a second, just Care. Damn, good damage onto him from random damage from Mako and Nier. Yeah, what we've been seeing with lane swaps in this early in the game, hang on, there's the Silent coming across the side of it. Mako blocks it, gets the shockwave onto the Karma. He's got flash and heal. That's not really the target they want. That's actually pretty close to a kill angle for Nier there. Ult's out. Anyway, as I was saying, the thing with lane swaps is you do it for about a wave nowadays, because you can't afford to have an extended stay on the other side of the map. You do it for a wave when the resets make sense and someone can kind of cover a wave, just like, you know, cover a shift, basically. And so you end up pushing one wave from each side of the map, you recall, and you go back to your regular lanes. Whereas the NIP that smashed AL, this is them. This is them. NIP are just sometimes like this. They're an inconsistent, unpredictable, aggressive team. This is just sometimes how they play. Thank you so much for the stream streak, by the way, Monsters. I appreciate you. 30 stream streak. Appreciate the regulars in chat. Always makes my day seeing you around. And even if you're new in chat too, maybe you could be one of the regulars. Think about like dropping a like, follow, subscribe. Does make a difference. You know, Sam and I, we live off of this channel. And if you've been enjoying yourselves here, think about joining us for a longer period of time. Dragon started by IG. I mean, Wei hasn't been able to keep up his insane lead versus Guon, but it's still not bad. 3 camps or so to the advantage, as Guon is now catching up in bits and pieces. You can see that NIP have not had the easiest time getting onto the board, basically. And we did say, you know, the Nocturne takeaway was big for IG. Guon probably has to go to Divine. He'll try and come back with mid-game plays. But getting to the point now where, you know, as he gets the first item, which is, well, that's going to be a little while off. 500 gold behind in the early game's not nice, really. But once he gets to that, then NIP can start making some big inroads, you think. And IG have had issues in mid-game. You know, IG, for all the changes that they've had, you know, the roster of last year is, well, obviously it's not here right now, right? No. Gala left for JDG. The Shy took a break. Hang on, Breed just... What is that teleport? Teleports under turret, manages to stop the recall from the Sun. He's had 700 gold. Sorry, that's just so funny. I had to stop my point about IG. You know, they had a super team last year. Rookie, of course, was playing in Split 1, not playing in Split 2. We'll see what happens. Mako came back for Split 2, but IG, they've not been without results all entirely, I suppose. It's not been particularly good for them. You know, Split 1, they just about scraped into Ascend, which is actually a little better than I thought they deserved, actually, from Split 1. They were really struggling. Farm alarm from Scion. But yeah, no, IG... You know, hang on. Potential jump over the wall here from the Vi. Oh, misses the Q, goes forwards. Here comes the Nocturne in response. They one-shot Maker. Had no flash. Couldn't escape that one. The Bardol is not going to save Guwon. Ult over. Nia gets himself his mid lane quest. And actually, the rookie mid laner from IG is actually getting some decent value. Flashes over the Bard. Q, Nia, all right. We're feeling it. Double kill to him and making a triple. Can he get the Quadra? Very close. Can't finish off the last of the 4 kills. The Akali pops off. Just saying that IG, you know, it's not the roster which they had really envisaged. The super team is not here anymore. Nia, we said he wasn't the answer. That's a great little play from him. He just flashed over a Bard Q to secure himself 2 extra kills. Incredible little mechanical outplay from the young mid laner of IG. You know, initially Mako gets exploded. The shockwave actually hits onto Wei as well. But watch how Nia plays this. Doesn't get hit in the Bard ult. Realizes he can just ult over instead of using his E. Gets double Qs onto Care. And then watch this. Flashes the Bard Q, gets a 3-man Q after. Jachi keeps auto-attacking, and Nia ends up getting the last Q on target. Can't quite get himself the last Q onto Ked. That is a great play from Nia. For a player who's been struggling so much, for those of you who haven't been following the journey, Rookie took a step back the split. We don't know what's going to happen with him. Renard came in. He was the player who won Demacia Cup with IG. Yes, IG actually won a tournament this year. It was the off-season one, but they won it. But Renard really struggled midway through the split. So they've replaced him now with Nia, who is a... Hang on a second. Micah jumped on the side lane. He does have full protobelt. He's really strong despite being half HP. This is the E there. But, no, Nia hasn't been excellent. This is, however, an excellent start to the game for him. Imagine what a confidence builder it would be for him to, you know, have a game like this on the Akali. Wei has the ult back up and available. See if Nia can twin off of that again. Now, we did say that, you know, IG might have some issues following the dive with stuff like the Karma. Guwon's in a very exciting angle here going on to Jat. She manages to get the smite onto the spell shield. Shockwave. Sorry, no, there was a spell shield used onto the Shockwave. It's not going to save Jatchi, though. The Bardol is used to... Well, I mean, Kaz being kept alive with that for a moment. Not enough, though. Nia has the ultimate. It's currently a 1-for-1 AD carry for mid lane. Kaz goes down, as does Jatchi. 3,000 gold lead for IG off of that mid lane play. 4 kills for the Akali now. He's got 8 Dark Seal stacks, and this is the kind of game I can see a Medjai's being built in. No, mate, no doubt about that. This is a snowballed Akali. Can absolutely start taking off now. No chicken Jachi, true. Yet no Corky chicken skin. No Swain bot lane for the King of Chicken. Well, that's a very overextended Gwen. Hasn't got involved in the game. That's a very strong Gwen, though. Very nearly killing. Draw has the Q, manages to get one back despite the 1v3. Breathers has been left alone here on the island. Nia, does he have a way to escape the combo? No, there's no real cooldowns available. Flies back in, even knowing there's no cooldowns there. Gives over a shutdown, though. That's a mistake. Gets a lot of gold back. Care gets a big amount of gold from that. I think Nia should have just left that alone. Mako gonna have a shield up soon for Wei, and it'll get him out to safety. Mid lane, Assume, firing the shots onto Jachi. First and second miss. Third one hits. Fourth shots. Barely wide. Jachi lives. I think that's a mistake by Nia to give that shutdown. Is 5 kills deep on the Akali. He's strong as hell, but he loses his Dark Seal stacks. He didn't have to take that E. No, Breed goes for the 1v3 here because he has no choice, really. Gets a great amount of damage on drop. Gets most of the needles on target. Everyone else flies in. Q from Sion is good. Now, let's see if he could have escaped this. There's no combo available. Just don't fly back in. Don't fly back in. It's good Qs from Hoya. You would save your Dark Seal stacks. You'd not give the shutdown over. Just don't give the kill. Yeah, Care, the reason he's even in gold is because he gets the shutdown and he still has 3 kills himself. The gold lead from IG is, it's dwindled a little bit from that. Nia is still strong. He shouldn't have given over those Dark Seal stacks. I think that people who build Dark Seal need to remember that you do actually need to conserve your life pretty well. That's why someone like Knight, Knight is like the apex Dark Seal / Magi's builder, right? Because he not only gets involved in a lot of kills, but he also stays alive at a huge KDA while he's doing it. That's why he builds Magi so much. Nia is single-handedly carrying the game. I think that Wei had a bigger contribution for his early pathing, but now you can see that, credit to Guon. Guon is now even in gold again, and is actually ahead in XP. It's been a great bounce back from him. We did say that the Vi was looking to do that. He's pulled it off. And now Guon is in a position where he can play make again. He's on a good track for his second item. Yes, we saw you miss that cannon mini there, Janchi. We saw that. Orianna is not something you want to let scale either, as good as Akali is. Yes, very true. Very true. He's on his way to Protobelt's second item. Oh, guys, I got to tell you about this arena build I had the other day. Yesterday, I had one of the strongest arena builds I've ever had. And I say this as someone who's played, like, a lot of arena. I had Aurora with Jeweled Gauntlet. I got transmuted Jeweled Gauntlet, so I rolled a random Prismatic in his Jeweled Gauntlet. And then later on, we had Ornn for the Prismatic Shop, and I got Sword of the Divine. So, Sword of the Divine, for those of you that don't know, adds extra random crit damage onto your crits, and Jeweled Gauntlets makes your abilities crit. So... just Sword of the Divine scales up with your crit chance. So I had 170% crit chance, and then I had, Jewel Gauntlet giving it like 180% crit, because I maxed that out. So basically, all things said and done, after everything was rolled, I had about basically 300% crit damage on Aurora passive, which does max HP. So there was a 10,000 HP Tahm Kench, and he died because my passive was already doing about a third of his HP. Jump in towards the mid lane. Nocturne lands the Q on target. It's not bad. Fear Tether works onto Jhin. Doesn't hit the W on the way back. Summoners out of Assume. Not bad from IG there. Wei just using the ultimate. Good cooldown economy. Who gave Aurora the bazooka? Yeah. I also rolled Dragon Heart as well, so I got like every Dragon Soul by the end of the game. But yes, I one-shot a 10,000 HP Tahm Kench because I was doing a third of his HP in passive damage before flat damage was even calculated. It was very funny. I just kind of hit a couple of buttons. I'm like, but that was not as big a HP bar as I thought. Very fun. Okay, so NIP. They do have a problem in the bot lane. Jachi has 2 items. This is a Sivir that's going to cause issues. They need to combo the Sivir. And I think my issue for NIP as we go later into the game is the amount of spread damage there is between Breathe and Jachi is going to be a problem. You need to have good damage onto both. Bardol's not going to land there. The Vi ultimate wasn't too far behind it. Draw a bit wide on the Tempered Fate. Oh, it was crazy, Jiro. It's crazy. I had a Shyvana that was just sat there going full tank like, yeah, I don't really need to do much. IG have some big late game damage? Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. The Akali can just kind of clean up where possible. And this is a game where, you know, typically for IG, we'd start seeing issues around this point in the game where you have, like, mid and late game IG not really knowing how to approach the map, throwing at objectives, losing on the map. NIP on the other side, this is why they get more and more creative. Okay, just hops into the tower to not do very much. Spell shields the W on the way back. Have I ever played Yorick Ivan in Arena? So in set 1 of Arena, Yorick Annie was a huge duo. So I played a bit with that. I actually ended up playing Yorick Zyra with a friend of mine who's a Yorick main. And that was just like everyone just throws a random skill shot and someone dies. Ultimate Revolution on like Annie Ivan and Yorick Ivan, very funny though, yeah. Yorick is always very strong. There are some points he can never close distance and he dies. It's not always true. His target access can be a bit poor at points. Same problems in League, right? You know, if I play a mage into Yorick, I feel pretty happy. And some assassins one-shot and Breed misses the cannon there, but well, whatever, happens. Dragon in 30 seconds would be the second one for either team. Neither one's managed to get those 2 early stacks. Assume with a Hex Optics build, not going for the lethality first item. Protobelt not in for care just yet, actually. Went towards the upgraded Merc Treads, no surprise there. 2 items with Guon, happy for him. Vi around the corner. Pretty scary with that Q, but no Orianna to combo up with at that point. Has the Protobelt now going towards the Void Staff. He hadn't backed for a while, so he gets himself a lot of itemization there, Cap. And IP's combo's online. Q onto Nocturne doesn't change that much. Sion not on a bad spot. As he said, Hoya, very confident Sion player. He's one of his better champions, one of his better top lane matchups to work with. Breathe, not actually that far ahead now. Was before, less so now. Draw, needs to be a little careful of that amount of HP he has. Assume on the flank, not really in position to put auto attacks down. He's within W and ult range though. Hoya doesn't quite manage to land the E. Needlework thrown out. Where is the paranoia? Goes onto the back line. Where's then the shockwave after? Sorry, no, yeah, where is that shockwave coming through from him? It's not coming through just yet. Nocturne, of course, not there with the combo there. I was just wondering where the shockwave was for disengage. Not needed to be used. Wave kind of flies in. Doesn't really achieve that much. Teleport back in from the Sion. Teleport back in from the Gwen as well. Here comes Guon. Not quite landing the Q. Shorted on that. Boya walking forwards, looking for the Q. Jachi now in range of him. Not very happy with that. Spell should just about last long enough. Breathe back into the play, and it's a front to back. Who does this favor? Well, there's a shockwave on one side, but you look at the Gwen damage to the front line and the ricochet towards the back. It's been a slow fight, and IG, I think, are getting the better of it, just about. Despite the fact that, hang on a second, the shockwave's good. Managed to catch out Mako as he's roaming back up towards the top of river. Great snap pick from NIP. As IG, the objective fights, they're not going easily for them yet again. Guon on towards Breathe. Can he walk with them? No, without the needlework. Really struggles to get that much value. Spell shield from Wei blocks the Bard ultimate. Last shot from the Jin does land onto Wei, but Nia goes into the back of the head of Vi, goes down. Another kill for IG, despite the fact that it looked like losing Mako would lose them the dragon. They take 2 back, and NIP are the ones who have to back off. Guon very nearly found the snap engage, which I thought would win them the dragon. Not quite so easy, though. Well, there's a snap engage. The Vira Orianna. About that. Guon's had a bit of a mixed game then, eh? Sorry, I just had to take a quick breather there. This solo casting business, quite hard to yap continually, isn't it? I have a lot of respect for play-by-plays now. I've had to do more of it as a solo caster. Yeah, it's not an easy thing. This was a replay of mid lane here. They had the magical journey. Good positioning there from draw. You do feel as though NIP have the tools for a comeback, but they kind of have to make a comeback now. IG on the other side, remember that... Look, they've not had an easy time of it. I will get hydrated, thank you. Now, IG have been very unsuccessful as it comes to the second half of this split, really. You know, they had their win in week 5 versus Weibo, but that has been, you know, few and far between in terms of the victories that they've had since week 2. Remember that they gave WE their first series win of the split. Weibo almost gave them another one, actually. But IG, this is a team which has hit the bottom, really, in terms of expectations after that early split. Early split was good, and then things just kind of went off the rails for them. Nia dodges out on the Q. He's actually not in a bad spot now. They even look for a Q, then an R2 backwards. Ult down from the Akali. Not at level 16 yet for the very short cooldown. Kind of have to play around Akali ult cooldown. Champion's not really very valuable without it. 80% kill participation from Nia, only the 70% from Wei. Now he might have... okay, he has Seekers. Turret's pretty low here. Gets the flash out of him, does Guon. Buys a lot of time though, Nia. They jump on top lane. Oh yeah, doesn't have flash, does have ultimate. We'll try and ult away. Blocked out by the Nocturne, and he's dead for that now. They can kill the turret, and then they can kill the Scion afterwards. There you go. One side lane has the flash and the ability to defend themselves. The other side does not have the flash. And dies. NIP get their first turret of the game, actually, in bot lane, outer. And struggling to get those. You know, the permanent wave clear of the Sivir, who's been... very quietly farmed up to a 2,000 gold lead against Asim. No, the bot lane has not been the focus of this because we haven't had a lot of 2v2 action, right? Chachi doesn't even have a farm lead. He's like 10 CS down, but he's 2k up because of the tower gold he's gotten across the rift. Plate's involved with that too. Asim on the other side has typically been at very large advantages in bot lane this split. Not nearly as easy this game. Sion's not even at 2 items yet. Well, he does now. He is now. You know, the Gwen has been just kind of eking out advantage after advantage now. He got a very large advantage, lost it, came back towards him now. So now he's got a 1.6k gold lead. 2 scaling carries ahead by this margin. And Akali's fed too. He's just kind of equal fed to the Orianna, so it doesn't look like there's a large lead there. But Nia versus anyone else on the team will slaughter them. Maybe not the Scion, because you don't have any percent HP damage with this build. You don't have a Leandri's or something. Baron up, Dragon in 50 seconds. So we've got objective fights looming on the horizon. Three items for Asim. Has his Infinity Edge. He's got 75% crit. Asim will actually be doing a significant amount now. Not that I love Jhin into Gwen. No, Gwen can just kind of run at you. Put the W down so you can't W her in return. No, Breathe has had a bit of mixed form recently too. Player who individually I expect more from. Especially when he's had games on his Ambassa and his Gnar, his best champions, I would argue. He's not really been delivering on the promise which he's so often given with those kind of champions in the past. For those of you that don't know that, Breathe is such a good individual top laner. Breathe's been on RNG, he's been on Weibo, he's now over on IG. He's been a bit of a journeyman here, or a bit of a mercenary here in the LPL after his days on RNG. Breathe was the top laner that switched with Bin in 2022, when the two of them were kind of bouncing between teams because of RNG's contract shenanigans. Janchi was another RNG alumni, actually. As was Wei. Wei jumping forwards into the mid lane. Very close to killing Asu, who just about lives with the help of Bard's little teacups. Just about lives those healing shrines. Very close, though. Cooldown economy looking good. Again, IG have been doing really well through this jungle role. I think Wei has had a great game. Hey, good Amber. Good morning, Amber. That's what I said. Not if I say good Amber. Good morning, Amber. That's the one. Good to see you. As you can tell, brain's not quite kicked into gear yet. Care pushing out this top lane, wants to get every second turret of the game. Can't quite get it on that wave. We'll need another one. Dragon being taken by IG towards the bottom part of the map. Hoya just going to scout him out. Fighting the top side where the Nocturne's not here. Maker flashing away. That'll be the end of it. Guon does have the shield on. The Breather's on the flank. He's really committed to this. I mean, Nocturne can fly into the play. It's good damage by the Gwen. Hoya's now in somewhere. I mean, he's just teleported into absolute disaster. Could he try and, I don't know, ult out of the play backwards? No, he's going to ult into the enemy base. He's going to do a bit of a Bousy impression. A bit of a the shy. We'll go from top to bottom. He's tanky enough to walk through the towers. Nocturne could technically run at him. What does he do now? He's going to get spotted by the vision cone. Do they walk down towards him? Do they decide he's not worth the time? No, they are going to walk at him. He doesn't have ult. He's got a flash. He'd have to flash over the dragon pit. He's going to get the fear tether onto him. Here come the scaling carries. Hoya will have to flash the dragon pit, presumably. No, they're actually going to go straight for a fight. Here comes the big play from NIP, but they lose so much damage so quickly, and in goes knocked into the play. The extended operation to try and save the Scion will instead lead to 2 more dying. More than that, Chachi gets into the play, keeps running at them, and as soon as he's not even going to be able to take the GA of the Nocturne, they should have just let the Scion go. Just let him go. Assume's gonna die for the cause. NIP lose everyone else, really. The Scion doesn't even live. Kaz the only survivor. NIP, they get brought into the chaos. It's not a good play from them. You can see that they're struggling to figure out how to play the game now that Guwon is not kind of grabbing it by the scruff of the neck. This team is so reliant on this jungler getting into a healthy position, and he just hasn't been from the start of the game. We've had a snap engage or two. NIP tried to, you know, problem solve their way out of a very difficult scenario near missing that E. Does he kill anyway? No, not quite. If he hits that E, he does kill. Appreciate the attempt. Has the 10-stack Dark Seal there. I think Hoya could have made it out of there, no? Surely Hoya could just make it out of I don't think you don't have to die for this. Because they managed to see him on the vision plant. But, I mean, Hoya's ultimate could have carried him to safety. He could have flashed over the Akali and then ulted out through top lane. I think he just didn't want to use his flash. And then they think, well, you know, we can use this play onto Jachi as Bard went into the play, very nearly explodes. And they kind of just lose their battle line a little bit. I kind of understand what Draw's going for. They're going for like this creative combo. They just don't have the damage behind it. And Jachi is so damn fed. Top lane turret goes down. Real credit to Jachi, by the way. Very good damage output. In terms of player of the game, it gets quite difficult now. Neo was incredible in the early game from the Akali, but Wei's early jungle pathing is probably the most single important thing to the game. Jachi's late game's been great on the Sivir. Breathe on the Gwen has been an individual threat. Mako's got caught out once or twice. It's probably not Mako, despite the fact that he's had an incredible split. This game's not necessarily been his best showing. IG really need this win, folks. If they win here, they draw level to NIP in terms of series wins. And NIP, if they lose this, they kind of get dragged down as the murk of the mid-table of Ascend. You know, we talked a little bit about the history of these teams. IG, super team from last year. Expectations have diminished with many members taking breaks, stepping back. NIP, this is a band of misfits that have found some great chemistry, but as we see, that chemistry is not 100%. It's not always there. It's not always the easiest thing for them. NIP trying to wave clear desperately against the Baron here, taken up by IG. Breathe going forward through a bit of healing from the Riftmaker in there. When healing. Wait. Forces the magical journey out of draw. Kali has a death cap, by the way. A nice hat. Shockwave flashed away from by Mako. That's a big defensive tool, though, used by NIP. And here goes Nia into the backline. There's a lot of low health members. That is looking pretty scary. Ults out of the play. Goes golden onto the Vi combo. The Jhin ultimate is not going to be able to finish off the Akali. And that's going to be a dead Guwon. Nia escapes the dive. Manages to go in, get the kills, gets out, can recall, can teleport back into the play. Assumes W is not going to be on target. The Nexus turrets go down. A recall from the Akali will get back into the play. IG take a win versus NIP, proving that Ascend is still as chaotic as ever. It's going to be a jungle Shyvana. The Gnar locked in to deal with the Renekton. Well, this is a bit different. We're starting to cook a little bit now. NIP perhaps a little bit knocked off their rhythm by that first game. You know, an unexpected game 1 loss to very cheap items, but Black Cleaver with Death by Touch is a scary, scary room. All right, let's get into game, and it is going to be assumed with the Doran's Blow shot start, and it's not going to be Death by Touch, it is Fleet. There you go. There are those gyros coming through. I do think support Senna skips Shiv. Bot ADC Senna should 100% get it. Yeah, I think that once you go Shiv and Black Cleaver, applying it to everyone on the team is really nice, especially since, you know, you do have a decent amount of physical damage on your team now from that top side. Kanavi, the last player to play the Shyvana jungle, played it in BLG versus Top Esports. I probably cast that game, but then again in 25 I cast pretty much every LPL game, so no surprises there. Got out of bed to watch this draft? Yeah, absolutely, folks. This one's an interesting one, because this is the kind of game where you remember that the Annie has a shield too. Bot lane has to do well here, though, from NIP. Trading okay as it stands. The Q gives a bit of healing out. She assume has to flash away. This 2v2, which was the most dominant in the first half of the split, has been struggling. Assume and Draw were very, very good in the first part of this split. Struggled since then. You know, BLG got the better of them in the 2v2. Top Esports definitely gave them a lot of issues. Beat anyone's legend pretty handedly. Okay, gets himself the electrocute onto Nia's Rise there. Shiv also counting as one hit for the stack on Souls also is kind of ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, I thought that they... Well, because they removed the on-hit a second time to the first target, right? But Shiv will apply the on-hit to anyone else hit by the Chain Lightning. So I think the first auto attack... yeah, oh, hang on. If you Q because the Q applies it twice, that makes sense. Way jumping into the enemy jungle, though, trying to stop Guon from getting his early game off well. Does get decent damage. Does get the shield from the W. That's one of the parts of the rework. Your W gives a shield now. It gives you increased movement speed if you're moving towards enemies. When you're in Dragon form, if the shield pops for the burst, basically the burnout's changed, right? You press W for a shield, press it again, it pops for a burst. When you're in Dragon form, it gives you a heal if it hits onto a champion like that. Your E is pretty much the same. Your Q has 2 recasts now. It's not a double hit, but it basically gives you double auto attack resets, one and then a little bit later as well. We're looking for a dive now. No, the Shin's out. Getting good value here. Guon going up towards the top side of the map. What's he trying to do here? Is he trying to go towards back of mid lane? Just look on the mini-map. We've got a dive in bot lane, but Shyvana's trying something in mid lane. Might go towards a double scuttle if this play takes a while. They're going for the dive now. Assume goes low and won't be able to survive the play. The Seraphine E goes wide. Guon. Oh, not able to combo up with Care. Nia flashing away from the flash and he's stunned. Guon really wants this bot scuttle. If he gets this quickly enough, and he does, can he get a double scuttle? Wei has a lot of HP to work with. The W for Guon will get him out to safety. This won't be a double scuttle now. Yeah, that's a fair point, Becca. Losing to... Yeah, the thing is, like, Assume and Draw were doing very, very well. We thought they were probably second best bot lane in the league, but then, you know, they did lose to Top Esports, you understand that, but then they also lost a couple of other... That just on the eye test, their 2v2's not been as clean as I would have liked it to be. You know, they were doing very well versus JDG in the 2v2, even despite the lost series in that 0-2. So that one was a better series for them. They lost against anyone's Legend in week 4, which was a bit of a slip-up for them, despite them beating in BLG the games after it. Their 2v2 was again pretty solid there. Really was the Top Esports and the BLG series which were less good for that. Against anyone's Legend the other day, Assume really came online later. See if we can keep that status going here. You know, obviously not doing as well in this game with the early dive. Guon's farming up well. Shyvana always been a good farming jungler. Played a game of her in Arena the other day, trying to get used to those mechanics. Because, you know, Shyvana was one of the very first champions I played in the game. Trying to get used to a reworked champion. It's a little bit weird. It's a little bit weird. Very strong champion is Shyvana, but yet to see if she'll be popular, I suppose. Hey, Rafa, good to see you. You are hype? I mean, Shyvana is a cool-ass champion. But we were just saying, you know, NIP were, like... Of all the teams that used to be the cooks with Shyvana specifically, it was NIP with Shanji. Of course, Shanji, the top laner of OMG 23. That great roster. But then moved on to NIP in 2024, when kind of that team split to the winds. He was the Shyvana guy. He was Shyvana Rumble. And that was while Rumble was not in meta. He was the guy playing it before anyone else. Guon may be able to combo up with Nia here. No cancel left here. Won't be able to get the damage down. Realm Warp to safety from Nia. He's been a bit of an over pusher in mid lane, has Nia, but he won't die for it this time. Been waiting for Shyvana to show up. I mean, yeah, Shyvana is crazy strong across a bunch of different roles, across all levels of play right now. Udyr, look, Udyr I still think is the same champion, to be honest. Like, he's a tank with an early laning phase who doesn't scale very well. You know? I don't think that Udyr's changed that much. We saw it from Sassy the other day, right? And I thought that, yeah, he did do a bit of a... It was a bit of a struggle game. Hang on, Mako walking towards the Assume. Gets hit with that W. Doesn't get hit by too much. Well, he gets hit by enough to force him into a very low state of HP. Does get that Q to heal up. Lost a lot of CS, though. You're just not used to seeing Assume and Droll lose a bot lane like this so hard. I mean, the dive really set them behind. The LEC Shyvana top were interesting. They went for the AP build, right? I mean, Shyvana's always been a very good hybrid champion. In terms of games like this, I think you just want to go like full target access. Jesus, there's the Q reset. Going forwards for that. You rework passive. NIP gets himself the... NIP gets themselves the first kill for them. Care gets that one for himself on the Annie. Wow, that was a mess. As you can tell, Rafa, I'm getting a lot of respect for actual play-by-plays when I have to like crawl out of bed to cast a game and fumble my words through in a morning. Oh god, solo casting is a hell of a thing, hey? I think the AP build is way better in competitive. Like in this game, he'll just get kited and die if he's not mega ahead now. So the thing in this game is that you have so many different heals and shields that I think you should go for AD Bruiser and just try and go for, you know, as much sticking power as possible. You're going to have a Molten Shield. You're going to have Senna, W, and ult, and Q to help you kind of stick to targets. You can have Seraphine helping you. I think you have to go for Bruiser in this game. And because if you can get on top of Shinzo and Renekton, you just destroy them. You destroy them. And you know, there's different ways you can itemize towards that. And Shyvana's always been a good Triforce / Sheen user. There's maybe a world in which you go a Stride Breaker this game. Again, to try and stick to that target. It's not like Nia has Phase Rush anymore for the slow resist, right? So Stride Breaker's gotten a lot more powerful with Phase Rush out of the game. Flash forwards for Breathe, who wants to get himself a bit of a play here. There's a roam up the river coming from the Shinzo and the Rise, and I don't think Hoya sees that one coming. Nia's not going to go towards the top lane just yet, though. End up being flash for flash. Hoya low HP, but Breathe is too. Asher flying up through the play. Care gets nailed by it, and the Annie is going to get taken out before they can really do much else. No, manages to get himself out of the play just about. Now the fight gets a bit messy. Mako slowing down with the Glitter Lance. Hoya over the wall. The Meganon near is down. The Rise DPS isn't there. Shyvana is starting to get some good value too with that extended amount of Conqueror value from him. Walking over towards the Grubs. Will be able to claim that last one. 2-1, I believe it is in total. Jumping back in his wave, going the extra damage down. And now suddenly the Dragon Form is off. Doesn't matter, though. Shyvana still has some damage. Backed up by the Enchanters. Guon goes 1-0-1. And the Shyvana already proving a bit of their worth if the game gets into low-range melee fights. Shyvana with shields behind her is a scary champion. Jachi's not at the play. It is a 5v4. Now, IG buying into a play which they don't have the numbers advantage for. Just watch out for the Shyvana here. Gets the great combo onto Breathe. Just immediately takes the Renekton out of the fight. So Breathe can't do anything more there. Hoya gets the Meganar. It really is a bit of a kaiju battle, isn't it? You've got dragons, Meganars, Renektons using Dominus. Like, the amount of value which the Shyvana gets from just, like, continual, you know, skill slinging with an Enchanter behind them is kind of crazy. Although I suppose NIP do sort of lose the uneven number fight. The Asher is the only contribution which they have there, right? Assume, I guess, on the other side. Oh, no, it's not an even numbers fight because Assume was also not at the play. I mean, yeah, technically 5v5 with the ults, I suppose. Hang on, ult into the wall. The buffs for Udyr, hang on a second, all in here. Hoya already used his ultimate, going quite low. Breathe no flash to force anything more there. Assume going low. Going back over the wall. Full rage bar, though, will have his ultimate available. Shiv is almost in for Assume. Once you get Shiv, you do get that soul immediately, as Pillow was saying in chat. If you get that Q on target, applies the Shiv, which is technically on hit with that too. Hang on, Realm War coming down. I think Guon feels like he can take this fight. It's a 4v3, but the tower's adding some extra threat. I don't think they can dive with the Shyvana in position. They can't really. Recall cancel there, boy Hoya. Wei's gone for the Titanic Hydra. Wants the immediate burst. Now, this is an interesting question. Does Wei go towards Dusk and Dawn? Is this going to be a game where you go Dusk and Dawn and full healing on the Shinzao because it's such a low-range fight? Now, if you go for healing Shinzao, does that beat a Shyvana in your face? If it's full melee, Shyvana versus Shinzao, if Shinzao goes for the full healing with Dusk and Dawn, does that beat the Shyvana? I don't know about the damage check, though. Not seeing enough of it. Hey, Little Soy, thanks for the follow. Appreciate you. Who do I think wins game 2? Well, IG have the early gold lead. I really like the composition from NIP if it gets online. But losing dragons is a problem. Reminder that the passive from Shyvana changed a little. You don't need the dragons to stack up resists anymore. Now it's like basically, you know, last hitting champions and large monsters and stuff. In minions. Basically, the more farmed you get, the more tanky you get. And technically, the more damage you get too. Hang on, Breathe getting ran down by Hoya here. Does have full rage. Goes for the Dominus. Gonna be a bit of an even play here. Q1 has the extended engage range. Could use the Mega Cone. Buddy, if you'd used the Mega Cone, you would have gotten range there. And I think you could have killed him. Chose not to. Yeah. Care trading heavily in mid lane. The Care Bear has been summoned once more. Assume is so far behind, man. Has the workings of that Shiv, but it's, you know, late on completing it. Oh, misses the cannon with the Q. Again, bot lane is such a rock for NIP, but it's not been easy for them in this series. Game 1, the Jhin Bard didn't really achieve all of what they wanted them to. Didn't really feel like the Jhin ever really got a chance to do much damage. Game 2, hang on, Guon might jump over here. The Encore hits, and where is Guon's fear? Does he use it? Yes, he does. Shyvana into the play. The Wild Growth not able to stop the unstoppable Shyvana, who runs them. He might just run down Mako. I don't think you win this fight. Wait. Another E lands. That could be a big problem for them. Flash forward for a potential stun. No, flash away to the Blast Cone. Flash for flash on supports. Udyr could be something like a game 3, maybe game 2 pick. Again, in pro, it's just really hard to use Udyr, I think. I mean, Udyr was so overstated when he was used in top lane. He was so overstated. And I think in comp now, in competitive play, I just don't think Udyr ever really gets the target access. Unless there's a really good lane matchup. He has to also be a counter pick as well. Because if you blind pick the Udyr, something like a Vayne comes out or a Gnar, and I think you just insta-die. Well, the Gnar matchup is a bit more playable, but the Vayne matchup is actually just unplayable. You can't play that. Shutting down the Ashe is so huge. Yeah, it is, and the gold goes over towards Guon as well, right? No, Guon's got... Oh, he's got a Hexplate! Okay, Guon going into the play here, stacking up his rage. Now, if he uses his ult, gets the extra attack speed. Reminder that Shyvana's a different champion with actual ult cooldown. Because you don't have ult cooldown, you basically just have a resource you use for that. Guon uses it, but it means he gets an empowered ultimate. I'm not... Okay, I mean, basically he's going for a powerful ultimate. It doesn't actually stack up the ultimate any quicker, though. Pretty sure it doesn't anyway. Shyvana doesn't get ult cooldown. Oh, hang on. It increases Fury generation? In that case, I'm wrong. Right, okay, so that's my bad. They actually have accounted for that then. So that was one of the problems before for a lot of cooldown reduction builds on Shyvana. It didn't actually change your ultimate. That must have changed with the rework then. So you do get increased Fury. Fair play. If you get more ultimates, big for him. Target access goes wild. Going for the Dusk and Dawn second. Herald taken. Assume goes low. Does have a couple of souls to go towards. Ken misses his stun. Roll up over his way. Flashes forwards. And that should be a dead Annie. Assumes died on the other side of the fight. We need to focus on that too. Care's going down. But what's happening on the other side? Juwon's low HP. IG win the fight despite losing the Herald. Boya walking at Mako. Mako, buddy, just touched the tower. Didn't expect that one at all. Mako just goes down for free. Recall came in from Shyvana, who's back out on the map. Hoya can't really get to Answer's Mega. Kaiju down. IG take an extended play win. Care caught out on one side, Assume on the other. And Hoya just uses ultimate, doesn't have it for this play. You know, the more you auto attack, the more that you get close to your ultimate. Care focused away from, Breathe can't get taken away from the play, the Encore doesn't save him, the World Growth blocks people into the play. It's a great split collapse from IG, realizing that they're very good in these split plays. Now, if everyone is behind and ulting Shyvana, then yeah, of course it's going to be a pretty scary team fight for NIP. However, the more split it gets, the better, you know, the Renekton gets to take, you know, 2v2s, 1v1s. The Ryze can chase you down with his move speed from passive. It's going to be that. This is not a build I've seen on the Shyvana. You know, I've seen the Triforce, I've seen AP, I've seen Shojin, I've seen Stridebreaker. I've seen Titanic Hydra. I haven't seen Hexplate Dusk and Dawn. That one's a different one. Yeah. Not so sure on that one myself, Rafa. Wei is going for the classic AD, by the way. I was wondering whether Wei would go for the Dusk and Dawn himself. I don't believe he will do now. I mean, I don't dislike the Shyvana. I think the Shyvana is actually a good pick, especially if you're building like a heal and shield comp, which can actually kind of allow the Shyvana to kind of just heal more and more. Mikhail's bought for the Ashe ultimate. There is a Shiv on Assume now, but it feels like it's just coming too little too late. Guon is here. Hexplate to fear them into the enemy. He has been torn limb from limb. There is Blue Man Group meat on the menu. And Guon slaughters him. All right, fair. Well, that's what a Shyvana can do. Credit to them. That's going to immediately kill the top lane turret. The Herald is a bit overkill, actually, although it will kill and potentially get some good damage onto the inner turret. Nia is definitely a target you think you can force onto, because Nia is a player who's been over-shoving a fair amount as a new player in LPL. It's one of the worst sins. Look, it's one of the rookie errors you do, right? You think you're safe because you're strong, and then you over-push wave and you die. Senna Seraphine is a useless duo. I don't think it's a useless duo. I think that they got dove early, and Senna is awful at stabilizing from behind. It's one of the big problems of Senna. Senna just kind of needs to be within touching distance of the game. She was nerfed so much over time that Senna is now in a position where if she's not ahead, she feels very, very flimsy. She was never a particularly tanky champion, right? And now you're just in a point where the Senna, from this kind of gold deficit, struggles to impact the game at all. By the way, I'm reading your comments, by the way, Midge, as well. I like your insight on the game. I do like the Shiv, but you have to select when you ult a lot more. Yeah, I mean, if you're going for quick ults on the side lane, I think it's fine when you're playing like this. But your ult is so key in these team fights. You know, if you have the Senna Seraphine and the Shyvana and the Gnar all getting good teamfight ults, very good wombo combo though, fighting over the red buff. Guon, again, the real center of this NIP team. It's not the creative snap engages of the Vi or the Nocturne. This time he's actually more of a DPS. They don't have the Mikhail's quite there in time. This time Jabji Gaze takes so much damage all the way back though. Where did all that come from? Hoya into the play, gets stunned up before he can get much happening though. Much better from NIP in the DPS check. The Shyvana gets to run them down, and the Death Ball is well and truly online. NIP, battle station operational. Where did all that damage come from? Just you thought that, well, okay, the Ashe is thrown onto Assume, and then she actually almost explodes on the other side. I'll have to see a replay of that one, hopefully, anyway. Not sure we will, actually, because there's no objective or no real, you know, big play coming through. It's only the one kill. We might not see a replay of that. I'd like it, though. That was a fun little engage coming through. Yuan charging up that ultimate once again. Baron on spawn. Well, Shyvana's pretty good at taking Baron. She's very, very good at, well, killing anything that stands in front of her. Shyvana's always been a very good farming jungler because, you know, she's very good at hitting that first target. The Senna E usage is here. Did they not spot the Annie? I don't think they spotted the Annie in the Senna E. I don't think they spotted it. And then the Encore, it has to be flashed away from it. Would have killed Jachi there, actually. Nia caught by it too. And then Guon gets to chase down. Yeah, you're right, Pillow. The Senna E hit Care. I don't think they saw the Annie in there. Senna is just a champion that's very weak early and it's so hard to not get dove 30 times. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why she's not been played much. Hang on, Kara in the side lane, twinning up here as the duo. The Care Bear dropped once more. Breathe pops the Dominus. Ash Arrow would have stunned someone up under turret. But they back away from the dive. The Five Nights at Freddy's Tibbers combo. What, you get jump scared by the Senna E? I like that. Oh god. Does Senna, sorry, does Shyvana have Jack of all trades? I'd imagine she does with this build, yeah. So now you'll be getting towards your multiple stats so quickly, right? You have, yeah, you're gonna get your max stacks of Jack of all trades very, very easily with Shyvana, right? Maybe that, hang on, maybe that's why he's done it. Maybe that's why he's done this build for the Jack of all trades bonus. That's a really good point there, Mitch. Hang on, fighting the enemy jungle. Guon forcing a flash away from Mako with the ultimate. Really scary as a Lulu to be facing a Shyvana in a situation like this, because you can't stop the Shyvana when she ults. And even if you hit a Glitterlands, she's still flying the same speed. If you ever get hit by that fear, you're done. You can't even... It's really hard to accurately time the polymorph against the Shyvana too. Because if you hit it while she's in ultimate, she doesn't care. Or when she's ulting in the animation. Now, Guon's been real threat now, and now you have to consider, you know, IG do have, you know, Dragon's Soul coming up in 30 seconds. If they get that, they feel a lot happier, but I don't think a Chemtech Soul saves the team fights very easily in this game. 2 items from Wei. Couldn't have come at a more important time. Jackie and Nia need to have a very strong fight in the next 30 seconds, or I think that IG do get outscaled. You know, assume getting towards stacks. It's not very heavy on the stacks, right? The early game didn't go very well. They hit the E there. W onto him as well. Should be safe with the Lulu shields. Dragon spawning. Breather's going to recall and teleport back in with his own second item. Dragon started. This is going to go down pretty quick. Wei's going to have to look for a steal near on the other side of it. Teleport in from the Renekton. The Shower goes wide. That's not what you want to see. Near good split damage. Spellflux going over all of them. Assume has to flash away. Breathe into the play. The Renekton's getting huge value. And one Kaiju leads to another. But the turnaround is insane. The Shyvana goes low. The Shyvana goes down. NIP's team fight falls apart in the critical moment. IG get the better AoE. Nia flanks, Breathe flashes into the backline, and NIP can't save their carries. NIP see the soul go over to the other side, and that should be Baron. It's heartbreak for NIP. You felt like they were building to something. No, Shyvana gets kind of stunned up and isolated down. The flank from Nia is crucial to this. The Ash Arrow doesn't land, but the Spell Flux goes wild onto 3 to 4 people. Wei kind of completes the pincer. The Care Bear is not good. It opens up the angle for Breathe to get a 3-man combo into the backline too. And at that point, yes, Guon does good damage, but, you know, 2 of your heals/shields are down. Care, that's not great. That's not great, Care. If they could have isolated out Nia, maybe they could break out of the encirclement. Not there. 5.5k gold lead for IG. Chemtech Soul. That gives them 12% from the 2 Chemtech Dragons. 12% heal and shield power and tenacity. Great fight from Nia and Wei. Breathe as well. Oh, well, that feels like a mistake from... Well, it's a huge mistake from NIP. And look, NIP are now probably... Hang on, there's the Asher landing in. Jachi is going to get engaged onto by Guon. Right now, the Encore stepped away from... I think NIP are just about losing this one again. Hoya does get a Mega Nod double kill to Nia before he ends up hitting the ground. IG, they do lose 2 of their Baron buffs, but Breathe is pushing on the top lane. They win in the... I believe that was the uneven numbered fight. It ended up being basically a 5v4 in mid lane, and Jachi stays alive, manages to sidestep the Ash ult, sorry, the Encore, which was flying towards him. Jachi has been a lot more stable this split. Now, I know that a lot of people really didn't like Jachi's inconsistency from split 1, and I agree. I think his laning phase was not good enough. But what we've seen from Jachi with Mako, and then Feng Yue with Jackie Love as well, both those bot lanes from top esports, is their consistency of getting into the game and then being able to team fight later on has gone way, way into the higher percentages now. Now, Jachi has been a very good AD carry from IG. I think that he has been a lot more stable in that first split, where he was rightfully called out for, you know, being not very good in lane and snowballing too hard into the negative. Now, I think Mako has been able to even out this young AD carry, who has a ton of potential to him. NIP tried for the clutch engage. People in chat are calling out. Gulen didn't really land the fear onto the crucial targets. The encore didn't hit Jackie in the backline either. He has a QSS 2 now anyway, so it's pretty hard to guarantee that. Ryze now has the Seekers. They're looking for a play around the wall with the center E. We'll do again the Five Nights at Freddy's combo, I guess. Kagura big forwards, gets a decent stun there onto Wei. He goes low, but the Crescent Guard comes out. The Mega Knight into the wall, but Wei stays alive. Breathe into the backline. Does a ton of damage, and Hoya goes down. A jump backwards from the Dragon doesn't work out. Jachi will go forward for another kill, and I think this will be the series now. Invictus Gaming against NIP. I think we're quite rightfully seen as the underdogs, as NIP butchered anyone's legend just the other day. But IG visit a hefty 2-0 onto the Ninjas. IG just lost to Team WE. Bounce back from that and will draw level with NIP at 5 series wins. That center bot lane just didn't...
Now is the time to subscribe. Now is the time. Do it now, or I shall laugh at you as you have to watch your adverts. Ha 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 ha. If for those of you who are not going to get hit by the ads, have a few gyros to go, and then we'll get into the game. Gyro's completed, and some agreement, right? WE are the tankiest team, right? Like, their tankiest member is going to be the Ryze. Maybe, I don't know, a GA on Lee Sin or something. So theoretically, the lower damage threshold from TES will not be the biggest problem. But I do think there is a world here where you full send with the Jarvan Annie, get one person and realize you've still got to deal with the consistent DPS of Ezreal or Jace Ryze, because you are largely outranged this game. Jhin adds a sort of abstraction into that, and then obviously Jarvan and Karma speeds you up, Annie, Jarvan speed forward. You have got fairly good all-in, so theoretically you can close the distance okay. But I do think there's a world here where if you just sit there and eat a load of poke, it's going to be a bad time. The Cassandra can theoretically deal with some of it, but as expected, Annie and the Karma Jhin are getting a lot of early shove. With the upside theoretically being Jarvan can then look to invade in the early stages of this game. Congrats to Cream on 200 match days. Big threshold to hit, number 42 in the league. All time that time, been coming to play since 2021. Monkey now going to look through an early gank here onto Cream. Ah, there's the flash. Room prison. Does it matter? No, can't quite follow up that much further. But still flash for flash. Theoretically, both junglers can look at that. Hey, Satellite. Good to see you. Good early shove and chunk. About dropping a little bit of CS here, somewhat expected. Jackie is a mean old Jhin as well. You will remember split 1 of winter last year. Or although I suppose split 1 of winter is a bit reductive because they're one and the same thing, but you know, you get the point. He and Leave were doing some crazy late game shenanigans on the champion. Late game Jhin damage was pretty ridiculous. Re-invade for the Raptors. Ah, that was an early Dragon Strike. I saw that, Tien. Oops. Also, theoretically, you should auto one of the little ones first. They all come and stack up in a line so you can get a better queue. Could have been more efficient there, not gonna lie. Doesn't lead to too much strife, though. They'll get the return of Feng Yue having gone for that little invade. Might see the Raptors stolen away on the other side. Of course, they're not going to be up, so Monkey will put down a ward here, I expect. Then maybe wait and see whether the Jarvan goes into a place they shouldn't have done. Cream's collapsing. They've got an idea about what's going on here. This could get spicy. Over comes Karis. Okay. Flag and drag traded as the Sonic Wave has landed, but that's looking better for TN because he's got a Conqueror stat. The Rune Prison comes on down. Both junglers end up a little low. Monkey's going to want to try and play for this regardless, I think. Bot lane about, playing the 1v2. Bard's going back to Deadly Flourish. Soul Flare won't quite be enough, but about is left real low. Monkey's instead going to invade onto the Krugs. So TN should still lose a camp here. Just kind of messed around with enough to slow that down. And honestly, Raptors probably slightly more experienced, but the gold from Krugs feels pretty good. Not always the fastest to do as an AD champion of Krugs. They've got quite good armor. They've not got very good magic resist. That's the trade. I'm not used to seeing Ryze without phase rush. Yeah, I know. Storm Raiders just isn't good enough for him at the minute. He doesn't get it. It takes too long for him to proc it. At least until later on where it's less needed anyway. Gonna try and jump up in now. There's the stun. Era's around though. Messes with Cream a bit. Phew! I don't know why I say it like that. I had fun with it. Top of Strikes Part 3. Goes wide. Take away the Gromp. Karis throws out an auto or two. That'll be the end of that. Relatively quiet early game. Invade traded for invade. I suspect TN's going to look to go back in here. Doesn't have to shove mid in the way that I think he did earlier, though. So those Raptors get taken by Monkey. I do kind of want to see TES do some stuff around that kind of 10 to 15 minute mark. Again, a lot of utility, a lot of CC chains. Good front line with the Enchanter behind. But as I said, I think they might hit a point where their DPS check could get a bit dicey, especially if, God forbid, Cream or Jackie fall significantly behind here. It's a squishy enough comp that it may not matter. From WE. Tibbers comes on down. Hugs were had. TN's got level 6. Ward hop away. Are we cataclysming this? We are. Is Monkey going to need to kick? He is. Cream's coming with the stun, though. Does get that anyway. I think he got trapped on the wall a bit there. Well, there's the flash follow. Karis speeds away. Going to try and realm warp out. Should just about escape there, actually. The CC's all down. So flash from Fongyue, flash from TN. Traded for flash from Monkey, but Karis without the TP and has gone teleport this game. Ooh, stretch this leg out a bit. Oh, that's a lot of flashes. It was to not get anything, really. Karis held on to his, which I think is actually genuinely very clutch. Oh, and that interrupts the back as well. That's annoying. Good shot from about. Who has fallen down a bit in this bot lane. It's somewhat expected. Jin Karma is very obnoxious, but still, Ezreal Bard, my impression is it should be able to fight that, because Ezreal Bard is a pretty premier bot lane in and of its own right. Still, it's within touching distance. And I think it's be more than playable. Dragon started by WE. Should be able to pick that up. Not the earliest, but hey. Are we seeing a contest? No, not really. Couple wards drop down. Fongyue might spot things out at this point, but realistically, Jarvan's not going to get here anywhere near in time to stop this happening. Karis had his flash on cooldown still. Right. Thought it had just come off, my bad. I was a little bit surprised he didn't flash there. Out comes Tibbers again, just for the chunk. Maybe a fight over these grubs incoming, guys. Monkey does need to queue away to the Gromp. Gets away. Single grub taken. Tip is still out for a second or two longer. And Creep's going to hold on to his stun here in case someone walks over. Zuyan's walking down as well. I was a little surprised to see Zuyan just say, hey, look at this comp is going to go Cassante. But then again, Cassante is not bad extra damage into a relatively squishy comp. Also, you need someone who can tank up some of the poke that'll be coming up from about and cube. So, sort of see the thought process here. It's just not necessarily a Zuyan pick, if you see what I mean. Is still here. Going to try and mess with the Q. Flag and drag away. Won't be able to Q onto that grub. Did go down to 1 HP, but hey. Successfully take 2. Cube doing his best to get a bit of a shove topside. It's kind of gone even, which is not necessarily the best for the Jace. You're going to keep this Cassante down to size. You want to try and pick up a little bit of something here and there. Not really happened so far. Q3Y. There's the acceleration gate. Just use that to get stuff onto the wave. Grasp for Aftershock on the Cassante. Don't see that much Aftershock Cassante, it has to be said. Though into the range matchup and as the front line, I sort of see the thought process. Grasp tends to be his default, though, again, into the Jace. How many times are you really going to get a Grasp proc? Because you do have a fair number of ways of threatening melee options. You see it into the Gnar quite a lot. You know, you can footwork into Q3 to pull someone back for that Grasp proc. But I do feel like you normally have more options to get Grasp procs than a lot of other melee tanks. Am I just mad here? Am I forgetting a lot of Aftershock Cassante games? Wolf curse, bro. Oh, Wolf. Damn it, dude. Monkey now in mid. Not going to find too much there, I don't think. Jackie speeding up a little bit there with Karma behind. Gets the auto dancing grenades. Little chunk there onto Fongyue. Usually go Grasp. Yeah, that was my understanding, right? So interested to see the Aftershock. Does allow you to just say, hey, right, let me just bulldoze through the first interaction with the CC and be annoying from there. Next Dragon's a minute and a half away. Might see a bit of a fight over that. Nice jump from Cube. Where's the Aftershock? There it is. Cube's going to time it out, though. Then Thundering Blast. Ah, now Zuyan's in trouble. As Upcon 2 members, the Q3 doesn't change anything. And Karis gets first blood. Nicely done. Yeah, that's nice work there from Cube. Gets a good chunk. Waits for the Aftershock to time out before throwing out that Thundering Blow. Monkey might get jumped on here. Sees what's going on. Needs to be aware of the flag and the drag. Doesn't want to Q too easy. We can W out now. There comes the shot blast. Will likely die, but Tien now in danger himself. When's he got his flag and drag? Cream's coming up as well. Damage back is good. Flash away from Tien, but Karis is there. And that'll be a second kill back. Okay, well, Tien does get the kill. But Cube makes it a lot more dicey. It takes a long time for Monkey to fall. Cream doesn't want to burn the flash to get involved. And as a result, Karis just sort of gets to meander up and get a kill. So 2-0 for the Rise versus a 1-1 Jarvan, who's dead as Dragon. Hunter will be spawning shortly. A little bit of a tete-a-tete in mid lane, but Cream, I don't actually know whether he has the most fun into the Chain Lace Crushers here. So yeah. Maybe didn't expect to proc Grasp off enough through versus Jace. That's clearly the theory, right? But then, I hate to say it, but how much are you going to be proccing Aftershock versus the Jace? Like, it'll be better for the team fights. But I also think, as we also see there, like, Cube just full sense. Flash away into the waiting arms of Karis. They had Cream coming, so the idea was they hoped to play the 1v2. Because the thing is, as Cassante, between Footwork, Pathmaker, and your Q3, you've actually got quite a lot of ways to drag Jace into melee to get a Grasp proc. So I actually don't think it's that hard to get Grasp procs as Cassantes versus champions like Jace. But the Aftershock theoretically is better for the kind of team fight brawl. I think it does hurt your laning power versus the Jace at like 1 item. But hey, even enough in farm that kind of got through lane regardless, and then we'll have that ability to play out the team fights with the Aftershock a bit better. Less good for those 1v1. Magical Journey over. Overcomes a lot of WE, but I think Ura's now in danger. Tien's going to full send. Will likely get the kill here, but the Tempered Fate denies a little bit of damage onto Karis. Ura survives. Tien is dead. Now the teleports start flying. Can Ura get out with a Magical Journey? Stun on the Dragon, but the Disintegrate comes up forward. Still going to be the 1-for-1 in that regard, though, because the Annie gets blasted by Karis and Monkey. Cube goes to the skies, but it's down to 1v3 effectively. Jackie gets it with the curtain call. Monkey's left below. Zuyan will pathmaker forwards and get another. The Cassante finally falls into another bloodbath about trying to hop on forwards. Can't kill Jackie. Realm Warp from Karis. Deadly Flourish just wide with the Z-axis silliness. Fogman needs to run away from Karis, and that ends up as a what? 4 for 4? What? Jackie gets crazy value at the end there on the chin. Doesn't quite fall down as about tries to DPS yet, can't quite get it. Starts with a very aggressive Magical Journey, and Tien ends up a little bit deep. The Tempered Fate hit denies a little bit of Karis' damage, really, honestly, as Fongyue flashes on out. Not the best Magical Journey, and then Ura says, I need a Magical Journey at the back here. Tries to Q Cream through the Dragon, but the Q is already flying, the Incinerator's already flying, so they force under the Cream, blow him up, and I thought at this point, W in a great position. But Zuyan with his Aftershock, with the All Out, with Jackie trading super well with the barrier, things get interesting, but back to life we go. Monkey into the backline, immediately just blasted. Q3 is deadly as hell. Aftershock comes on forwards. You know, Tofo strikes were problematic. Lose the jungler, Dragon's up. Tien's still at half, so not a great spot. And Jackie's also at half without flash or barrier. There's still a lot of poke here from WE, so they can potentially look to play out a slower fight, but I think they're more interested in playing through mid and getting a good chunk onto this turret. Cassante, with this Aftershock, has proven more obnoxious in the team fights than I expected. But Monkey now 1 and 3 has kind of been blown up on his entry into the fights a couple times. Couple very big team fights in a row led to basically even game. TES just about coming out the better of that last one. The problem is Karis is now 5 and 0 on this rise, by the way. 5 and 0. Like, of all the places for these kills to go. That voice crack was one of mild perplexion. Perplexity? Perplexedness? Me being perplexed. Tempered Fate onto Cream. Can Cube trade onto Tien here? No, not really. Okay, so ult traded. Didn't expect Tien to be around. Makes things a bit dicey, but there you go. Monkey's going to solo out the Herald. Oh. Stutter there. I'm going to quickly refresh here. Just to make sure the feed is clean. Especially if we've got a dive coming. Oh, yeah. Please don't murder me. We good? Okay, end of that play. Monkey's going to get run at here. Should still be able to finish up this. And does manage to pick up the Herald. Kick away. Q3 doesn't really land. And Monkey should be able to dance away from that Deadly Flourish. Nicely done. Right, quick refresh, guys, to invalidate some of that CC. Not the CC, the stuttering, rather. Yeah, he is getting very close to Dr. Manhattan. I agree. There is a certain blue man nexus of power that's building in mid lane. Like, genuinely, that alone could cost Telp Esports this game. The fact that Karis could theoretically just 1v5 now. Well, will be able to, right? Like, he still needs to complete the Seraphs, but he's got Arm Guard very early on. He's got the tier stacking well. I think if we get level 15 off Roa, Seraphs early. Also, his Roa is going to tick up to some pretty obscene levels here. Because he's still got 3 levels to go. He will absolutely be able to tick up to minimum 14. Hell, he might, because of these 5 kills worth of experience, be able to tick up to 16 off Roa. Herald now charging down towards this bot lane. No one's taken a turret yet. This could theoretically be one. Couple grubs. Top Esports might have been able to leverage them. Of course, while everyone's now turned up bot, Gonna see Cube on this Jace turn up top. Cube's Jace was getting banned from him earlier in the split, getting picked a fair amount of time. We were a bit perplexed by it, saying WE, Cube on carries, Cube on Jace, are we sure? But actually, of late, you know, with WE looking a little bit better, particularly in these early stages, Cube, you know what? I'm not gonna hate seeing you on the Jace. First turret win percentage is 27%, but that just tells me they've only gotten first turret in like 4 games, guys. So, you know, not exactly the biggest sample size for a team that's just done a lot of losing. They were 0-16 from the majority of the split. That Tempered Fate is kind of nasty, actually. Jackie, ooh, that's a chunk. Monkey might be in danger here. Flags and drag through. Feng Yue going to try and trade out pretty well here, but the tether is broken. No renewal going to be found there. The shot blasts tanked up by the Golden Aegis. Now comes the curtain calls. There's a blast cone available. should be all right. Monkey not going to get tagged either. That'll be Scuttle Crab to top eSport, but a few ults burn to make that happen. And Karis, whoa, Clean Feed had a moment. Should be able to pick up another turret in this bot lane. And Jason Rise in a side lane here. I don't think the Cassante or the Annie are going to have a lot of fun into either, you know, guys. Both are very mobile with form change, acceleration gate, Ghost Blade, actually not the Voltaic from Cube to have more move speed. It's going to be very annoying. And then you've also got Rise with his own ability to speed away with a passive, plus the Seraphs, the Roa, the Zonyas, the Realm Warp. I think there's a world where WE can play this kind of 1-3-1, 1-4, and feel quite annoying here in terms of top esports' absolute capacity to turn around on that. Again, you do have an ability to CC someone very hard if you do get good timers and good vision control that you can sort of gank someone without them being respectful of how far up they are, you know, with Jin W and the rest of it. Here's that replay. I'm assuming just got caught. Flash over from was looking for the flash binding. Didn't quite find it. Still, does get a fair amount of damage off Jackie. Dragon started. Be second for top eSport. Down a half. TP in. Comes the Jace as well, also TPing, but Suyan with that massive shield in the aftershock is going to be a real problem to cut through at this point. The armor pen's not really there right now. Managed to do a fair amount of work. There's the dragon secured, and Zuyan's just still not lost that shield. Finally does. Karis, pretty scary. Bash for the incinerate from the Annie, though. Oh, boy. I was worried about the damage, but not if Annie finds moments like that. It's superb from Creep. The stun into the Cataclysm. Out comes the curtain call. Karis does at least trade back one, but everyone else is falling. Baron's alive, I think. After that wonderful send from Cream, they can turn to Baron. No damage thresholds be damned. Please get us a replay, because I think Cream hit 4 people there. At the very least 3. Excellent, excellent flash W. The Disintegrate catches them all. And instead, they can't turn to Baron. Not quite enough HP. He thought about it. But hey. Dragon secured. Lots of kills secured. Tight game. I genuinely thought they could still do it. They might still look at it, you know, just off the resets. Baron's going to get a bit of a stun. Monkey should pick up this Scuttle Crab, I think. Yeah, it does. Got a little nervous there that Jackie might nab that away. Hasn't gone for DFT. He's gone for the fleet. Jin damage on Baron's impossible. Yeah, that's kind of my worry. Is that maybe they could still do it regardless. Perhaps a bit of touch slow. Even with the front line. Here we go again. Watch Cream here. Watch this flash. Rocket Belt. Flash W on 4. Oh, into the Q3. All out. And the Cataclysm. Oh, man alive. Back to life we go. TP behind here. Here comes Rise. Jackie could be threatened. So could Feng Yue. All the while Zuyan's are having the most fun as he's trying to buy time in all-out form. Karis now actually somewhat split off. Does a lot of damage to Jackie. Has got an arm guard to work with, so can potentially go golden. Does immune Cream stun as a result. Big damage back onto Zuyan, who's tanky, but the Realm Warp out from Karis will be needed to escape. Takes low, so is about. No one really tanking up those curtain call shots well, but out of the Cataclysm we go. He has gone too deep. Now Monkey into the man. of bodies. Will Kev pick up another 2 or other? Top Esports a little lower than they would like. They lose Monkey, but Tien and Feng Yue traded deep from both junglers there. It's a tight run game, guys. Tien isn't all that tanky if he goes forwards first, it must be said. The Cassante very much is. Tempered Fate nearly caught him, and I thought this flank angle might be pretty decent. But Zuyan is such a bulwark in this front line. Right now, he is very much a linchpin in terms of ability to buy up the time of 3 members and just deal with it. Karras does a lot of damage, and this Q3 is well immune into the golden from that arm guard, so Cream can't follow up. I think if the stunner come on through, Karras will be having a lot more danger, but gets to Realm Warp out to safety. The curtain call bullets were really, really alarming, and you can see why Tien thought, you know what, I can probably full send here, but the barrier is really well timed. Can't quite get the damage. Tien gets blasted. Cube goes absolutely massive with his own accelerated shot blast, and so we just about survives with the footwork. Jack Show Iceborne Gauntlet is just a lot of resist with the aftershock. Okay, Zuyan is still level 16. He's going to be with that aftershock, very tanky. Q3 on 2. All out, kick away, Monkey's dead. That's unfortunate. Again, they just can't burn down this Cassante. An Infinity Edge now on Jackie as well. Maybe we can finally get this mid turret. Take a look at Baron at least for the fight. Monkey being down for 30 seconds is pretty huge. He's 1 and 6. He's not had a lot of fun on this Lee Sin, actually. Must be said. Good damage. Back away. No one can really force Baron. The problem Top Esports are running into is like they're getting these kills and then can't actually convert it into Baron because their Baron damage is so low. And I think WWE are calling a bluff going, yeah, bet, I don't think you're really going to be able to do all that much with this Baron. Level 16 for Karras, by the way, who is now at critical mass on this rise. Would love that Zhonya's, but it's got the Lost Chapter for what will likely be Actualizer, I think, 3rd. Might be Leandries, you know. Well, actually, would it be? No, not from a Lost Chapter. That would be Haunting Guys. I suppose it could be Blackfire, but I don't think that's that great this game. Dragon's going to get started. They're giving this up. Last 2 Dragon fights have been appalling from WE. Maybe Monkey goes to the steal. If he gets this wrong, though... Yeah, don't do it. About stacking his 2nd tier. Indeed, double tier. Ezreal is very much a thing. The Seraph's 4th, basically. Once you complete your Muramana, basically, you can convert to another tier. The extra AP scalings feel really good. Makes you a lot hard to bring down. Surely is from Feng Yue for more move speed. Serpent's Fang probably wise from Cube into Karma and Annie. Even the Jarvan. I was going to call him Jace, which is the wrong one. Too many J champions in this game. No one called the LCK cast. Orcs and Atlas waking up. Summoned by the champions. Baron's still up. And again, I don't... It's just such a weird game. Because at this point, we are getting to the point where Jackie's hitting critical mass himself. GA's done from Tien. That's kind of important. Zeke's done from Zuyan to have more ults. Be a bit more damaging considering he's necessarily going to be having much support in the mix of things right now with the way things have been going. Maybe the Jarvan joins, but not been that simple. Problem is on the other side, like Monkey's finally got Black Cleaver. He's not had the greatest game on the Lee Sin of all time, it must be said. But Cyril's in for about. Black Cleaver's in for Karras. Got a Last Whisper for Q. We're getting to the point where there is enough pen, and I think the raw amount of damage is going to start becoming really problematic here. And again, we've still got these side lane issues of Karis and Cube will be able to side lane in a way that I think is going to be very annoying for top esports to respond to. Jackie's, of course, still very scary. Into a squishy enough composition, I think. We have seen those curtain calls be very, very dangerous. Cube just hanging around looking for some shot blasts, seeing what can be found. Doesn't quite find Jackie there. Karis shoving top. It's another slow game, guys. 2 minutes till Soul, though, and top esports can just say, cool, I'm going to fight you around that. You've not had a lot of fun around these objectives. And WE's objective fights have been very poor around Dragons. It's cost them a number of games and series, bluntly. Actualize It is done for Karis now, though, alongside that Zhonya's. I mean, this Rise could just blow everyone up. Ura's using his body to body blocks to sort of like battle ward rather some of this. Magical Journey's out. Damned if you do, damned if you don't scenario here as well, with the Baron being threatened. This mid lane turret still standing. Has been very annoying for top esports, it must be said. They're going to try and hard force it. True shot barrage comes flying. Should be able to hold on to it just about. Jace gets the wave shoved. They didn't have the Ezreal there to clear the wave a bit more aggressively. They should get that turret in the picture-in-picture. There we go. And this is going to get quite annoying because now they can do the same over on that tier 2. The whole wave crash into the inhibitor turret. Cube is beginning to get quite a significant CS lead here, actually. About 50 odd, 40 seconds. We'll reset. Two shot barrage doesn't catch anyone resetting. Just checking that little alcove between Raptors and mid turret there. You often catch people resetting off with main line, so to speak. Fongyue eats about a third of its HP bar there from the shot blast. Ura has some Mikhails, though. Well, that could be a big cooldown. Oh, Jackie! Damn, he hurt. Okay. Karis going to try and threaten here from this bush. But again, one of the things that WE are running into the issue was if Jackie hits someone, they have a bad day. True shot barrage. Doesn't hit anyone. Oh, this could be problematic. WE now trying to force their way around the back of the pit to regroup a little. There's some honey fruit helps about feel happier. Monkey on the flank up, but these wards, these Jin traps are all over for top esports. Dragon started, and this flip is very top esports favored. Into the backline goes Monkey! Drop down onto the cataclysm. 3-man on Tofo strikes, and the flanking Lee Sin finds nothing. Nothing at all. Jackie flash barriers survives, and he's just better. The best AD carry in the LPL deletes all of WE's hopes and dreams. Do not doubt this man's Jin.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
Oh, Monkey went looking for the Hail Mary flank. Jin just said no. Look again. They know he's there. They know he's there, and he still gets across. Looks to flash onto Jackie. Goes into the middle of the team. Barrier flash. The flag and drag through from TN into the cataclysm. You know what? Perhaps I was a little unfair on the rest of top esports there. Sure, Jackie deletes a load of fools, but TN and Zuyam were so ready to peel. The flag and drag through absolutely everyone into the cataclysm. The 3-man on Tofo strikes. Jackie surviving to do all that damage is great. Don't get me wrong. And I'll stand by the hyperbole. That's fine. Made for a nice casting moment. However, let's be real. Jackie standing on the shoulders of giants there a bit. And those giants are named Tien and Zuyan there. Karis also full sent it. Actualized. Got nothing. Now Infernal Soul and Baron at this point top esports should realistically be able to break the stall that WE have been holding this game in. The Infernal Soul forced them to come fight. And fight they do. Not to much avail, though. Cube has to get cleansed as the Deadly Flourish landed. Really struggled to threaten this Jhin this game. Oh, full send from Cream. Flash for the Incinerate. And About is a dead man. Not walking, he's kind of just sitting there twiddling his thumbs until the keyboard is reactivated in 49 seconds. But that's far too far away. Monkey kicks a member sort of perpendicularly to where he wanted to go, and Jackie just stands and delivers. Gets shielded by Fengyue. Monkey's just not been it this game. The Lee Sin has been clutching at straws and found nothing at all. 22 kills to the good top esports. Bring down the Nexus. It is a slow grind of a game. But the Dragon fights were just a very scary roaming duo with very good side lanes to go play around. The Aatrox, the Lucian Milio, both very, very strong on that front. Your CC is quite limited. It is on to Pantheon W, Ethereal Chains, Aatrox knockups with his own sort of Infernal Chain. Pouncing on whoever gets caught out. Not the easiest to do that when you've got the Lucian and crew on the other side. We'll keep our eyes on it as we head onto the Rift for our potentially final game of the day. Thank you for the subscription! Courtesy of Doc Shamrock. Good timing for it. Decent trading at the early levels here. Am I seeing anything crazy in terms of our runes? No, I'm not. No DFTs. No Storm Raiders. All seems to make a fair amount of sense. Appreciate you, Doc. Decent little chunk there. Good damage then. About gonna have to barrier there as TES get a good chunk forwards. That's nice work there from the Korkinami. Lucian Milio can sometimes trade back a little while. Sometimes need a couple levels. And of course, Monkey's managed to find his way behind with a good early gank here. Gets the flash. Fengyue's going to run away best he can, but this fish in danger. Jackie's flashing forwards, gets one back. Now he's going to be in danger himself. Likely falls, but look, here comes TES. They can't get in range out of W cooldowns. Monkey needs to stack up his passive. Frost bomb lands. Oh, no, no, no. He's got red buff. Is potentially in danger here as well. Backstep the wins becomes lightning 3. Talon strike knockup, not quite there. Flash from the Milio, and WE find disaster, catastrophe in the bot lane. They think they have the early gank, and they do, but they don't kill Fengyue. Jackie full sends to kill off About, then Tien gets to roam down and make matters worse. This looks good. You are on Blazelands, flash for the shield vault, but About... I'm sorry, I think About just has to flash the moment that stun lands to finish up Fengyue, get that assist and just play from there. The moment they don't kill Fengyue in a good timer, and Jackie just gets to stand and deliver. Oh dear. Well, now the Corky's 2-0. Backs for Tia. And the makings of a Phage. Compared to brown bags of poor old About. little bit of trading top side. So yeah, having some fun with it. I'm not seeing any crazy starting items. No Doran's Helms this time, which is still last game. As Monkey said, do what I do. Yeah, that one was unfortunate. It is nearly genius, right? Breaking the early shove. You get the kills there. You feel so much better. The fact it doesn't happen is rough. It's really rough. Monkey's back bot. Just fighting over these control wards. Remember, they are a little shy on summoners. It get a bit spicy. Might try and interrupt the back here. Oh, Monkey's just out of range of the Aqua Prison. Can they jump forwards here? The Super Mega Blaze Kick. Don't find the Shield Vault. Okay. Tien's still roaming over. Don't want to full send quite yet. Maybe. Just this Tri-Brush being a consideration in general. Okay. Spicy. They lose that ward. Still in they go. The Aegis Assault tightens through the Aqua Prison well enough. Everyone's going to back away. Largely in one piece. To the dragon we look. Tien, just looking for a little return back to his jungle. Monkey's gonna get the Skull Crab topside. Does that get him 6? No, not quite. Again, that Death Bot really turned his timers around a bit. Might fight over this red buff though. Oh, hang on. Feng Yue's coming. This is not gonna be a 1v1. Feng Yue face checks here. He might be in trouble. Ha 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 ha. Nearly got him there. Missed that one. There comes the emote. Oops. Zuyan's roaming down. Tien wins the smite fight. Karis is here. Cube is here. is here. Feng Yue looks the Aqua Prison lands, but the Aegis still comes on forwards. And again, the follow-up not superb. Karis looking to jump storm forwards. There's the heal burn, but now Cream is here, and Karis has burned his Distort. Is he going to be forced to burn a little bit more here? Not yet. The damage not spectacular from Cream at this stage in the game. Raptors under siege. In between worlds we go. Monkey has to flash. Will not be able to get forward very easy. Good Crescent Guard buffer. Infernal Chains pulls Monkey back. Was a Tien back forward. But the turnaround with the public execution. Monkey into the backline and Pantheon is falling. Cube with the World Ender is going, yep, no, the World's Ending is mine. I need to leave. Karis dances away and survives for now. He should be able to get through. Ooh, flashing the Ethereal Chains and dash on forward with the Audacious Charge. Needs a little bit more healing. Flee! Stop stuttering! Tien dies by the looks of it, and Karis survives. And gets to reset. That's an unfortunate stutter. Clean feed. Why are we like this? Why are we like this? Nice play from Karis there. Flashes to get the chains. Makes it a bit more of an even affair. Little stutter there, but it should be fine now. Have a look at this replay, because this is kind of like 30 seconds into the play. Cream gets a fairly big between worlds. And they full send it to Tien, who then Crescent Guards well through the Shield Vault. And Zuyan has a really good angle. Flash for the public execution. Gets on top of Monkey, who dies a nasty death. And they think they can keep chasing. Tien flashes over. And the picture-in-picture, we've got some violence occurring. And Tien is dead. Nicely done there from Monkey to pick that one up with a little assistance from Karis, who's playing a mean LeBlanc game so far. A little bit of something back against top esports, who are 1,000 gold ahead, largely in this bot lane where Jackie has just run rampant after that early gank went so wrong. Bit of a stutter again. Please don't. Thank you. Come back. There's the interrupt. Not too much more off that one. Can we look at a fight over anything here? No, not really. Monkey's just going to double camp and try and get what he can from his own jungle. Of course, Tien with all these wards in the bot side jungle. Realistically uncaring. Hello, League of Legends caster Initialise. Why the F are we death matching over red side Raptors? Regards to Rex Kirby. Because we've got an early skirmish comp that really needs to make sure that they get early skirmishing done with Pantheon and LeBlanc. Because again, if it's going straight to 5v5s, this comp's not going to have that much fun. So they want to fight in the enemy jungle. They want to get this Pantheon to the point where anyone he leaps on is legitimately at risk of dying. And that's the plan. The early dive went, or the early play bot side went very wrong. But the plays of the enemy jungle got a little bit better. He gets to go on this invade onto Raptors. Won't be able to find a diver because we will reset. Gets Eclipse, which is a good back for him. And Ambess has gone even in lane. That's always a bad sign. Sometimes she needs Eclipse before she can do that. So this should be scary. Maybe a bit of CC there onto Jack. He needs to back away as the culling comes on down. Nice, okay. Decent chunk there. Imperial Mandate's done from Fongyo though. And of course, Nami getting to go Imperial Mandate always feels very good. He gets to hit people very hard and they cry about it. Maybe we can chunk out something a little bit more here. No? Okay. A little bit of trading happening in that top side. Cube. Let's be a bit careful of things like the grasps happening. To the dragon we look. That should be picked up fairly well by Top Esports, who will be getting their second dragon here, I believe. Indeed they are. Feels pretty good. The other thing is, because Jackie got such a crazy early start to the game, he has gotten bot lane quest already. And again to the Lucian, who wants to snowball hard into the mid game. That's not fun to see. Potential look over here at these scuttle crabs. Could be okay. Really leading to all that much. It's been a bit of a slower last couple moments. Maybe a bit of a fight now in the river, but over what, guys? The camp's really to steal. Hey, Charlie, how are you doing? Shout out Charlene in chat. Wonderful streamer, very entertaining. The best Alawi top player you're gonna see. Don't watch Jamada, etc, etc. Also been playing a lot of Garen recently, from what I remember. Tidal Wave flies across a few, force a flash out of the Milio. Kara is still potentially threatening here, but will be able to distort away. The worst player ever, ... Zerif in chat is one of Jamada's mods, actually, so, you know, maybe they have to. Jamada hates Alawi now. Jamada was a big Alawi player. He was a big Alawi main. He was Alawi Kane Gangplank for a lot of his champions. Always fun. So he's had a lot of thoughts on Alawi and where she is at in the current meta. So it's always interesting. I think he's been despairing of some of the decisions that have been made. Cube took a nasty chunk there actually from Zuian. He got a very nice set of Eclipse trades off. Real OTP Alawi's hater. Yeah, fair. Also true. Potentially looking for Karis. Not gonna find it. Monkey just gonna try and take some of his own camps. It's just been a little bit slow. We've got a couple minutes till the next dragon. Grub spawning now-ish. Maybe some threat here. Fungu has to flash away. Gets away with it. Okay, hang on. Damage is pretty nasty there. Make no mistake about it. Ow. Tien in danger. Has to flash. Does about survive. Now Zwion on the flank. TP behind. Cream goes across the veil. Maybe goes between worlds. Tries to blow up Monkey. The public execution. Gets on top of the Pantheon. He goes down. Karis has to hop out the back of the pit. But Tien can hunt. Has got that free Talon Strike active. The wind becomes lightning. Dodge away. The Audacious Charge will still be in range of back to his landing point. The Crescent Guard, the hop in, can't quite get the kill, but Jackie will now Valkyrie over, and I think Karis is out of cooldowns, and a flash after the Valkyrie will secure a kill onto the mid laner of WE. Smoke and mirrors enough to survive that one. We did see a pro Alawi the other day. They did quite well. Herald under siege nonetheless. There's no Pantheon ult. The top esports feel like they can't finish this up. Possibly not. Possibly not. Zwian will need to back off that a little bit. A little bit dicey, guys. We good? Okay. Oh, flash. Oh, this is the replay, of course. No. Monkey jumps in. The Culling comes out. And it just gets a bit spicy because they don't quite get what they're looking for. And Monkey tries to flash, but the public execution follows. And at this point, Karis and crew are a little bit split off from the side. Cream gets away. Dragging in a little while yet. Of course, top esports don't have soul point. Herald coming. Here we go. Here comes this potential player. They should just get this turret at least. Ooh, the Aqua Prison. Whoa. Tidal wave after public execution. Oh no, the Herald play ain't so basic anymore. About get some shields with the warm hugs. The cozy campfire keeps him rolling for a second. Karis also left low though. Tien can't quite get the kill he was looking for. Oh man alive. At least we can maybe get some plates bot lane, but Cream's going to trade out on that top side just fine from that regards. Zuyan is here. He's a little low after that mid lane play. Monkey's not had a good day, guys. That Lee Sin wasn't great. He's now 1 and 4 on the Pantheon. Ugh. We've got 3 minutes until Dragon, and again, WE have not played Dragon fights very well at all here. So basically, they're dropping Herald going, okay, well, we've lost the Dragon. We can make a play for this mid turret. Pantheon gets in, and Fongyue just times the Aqua Prison, sees him come in, and immediately Prison, do not pass go, do not pick up 250 gold, full sent, goes down, public execution, gets onto About, who's then forced to flash, jump away, just about survives. This Mega Blaze Kick actually really clutch there, but they burned so many flashes to escape. Don't even get that turret. They finally do on the reset, so it's kind of done. Siwu played an LCK and won. That's where it was. Between worlds, about. Oh my god! He's dead. No flash anymore. Now Monkey's in danger as Jackie's running out in the Aegis Assault. Times out. Escapes on the Milio. Yeah, looking for the Wimbledon Lightning does manage to jump onto Karis, who backs away briefly with that distort. Mid turret finally falls. The Herald's still up. Oh, sorry, not Herald's still up. Baron's up. We just saw the Herald in mid lane. Oh dear. Bit out of it still. Scuttle Crab. Hang on. Grand Starfall. Public Execution went wide, and this is now a 1v2. Flash for that Q2 doesn't quite land, but the Infernal Chains will come back as the Flash Shield Vault allows that kill. Nicely done. Finally get a side lane play that works out. Important pickup there. And Cube's now up 1,000 gold. Got the turret, got the kill. Not bad. Does it change things in what's going to be happening in around a minute or so? Because again, Ocean Soul with Baked in quite tricky. Fongway is going to need to flash out here. Oh dear. He got left very alone. Nice pick-off. How did that happen? Well, that potentially was going to certainly deny Top Esports that ability to put down any wards in their own jungle. Much better last 30 seconds or so from WE. Gold lead down to under 1,000. Cube picks up the Sterax. We'll be able to fake frontline with that a little bit here. Tien's still only at one item here. He is going for the Dusk and Dawn, but he's not going to get there at this timer. Monkey didn't complete Steel Caps in order to get to Black Cleaver. So yeah, Tien's going for the healing god, especially because he's got Ocean Soul with you. I mean, it makes sense, right? But still, not having that here for the potentially clutch soul fight is a big deal. Jackie is very strong, however. Very strong. Likely building, I want to say Hex Optics third into this comp. EP, and we are going to fight this, but who needs to face check? I guess the Shinzao. Might try and fight their way around this flank angle. Down that little corridor there we see. About gets chunked really heavily there, actually. Wow. Jackie gonna go forward. He's got the Valkyrie. False bomb to scout. There's the public execution. Tidal wave! Monkey's bounced around, not quite dead into the backline. Goes Zuian, completely tanking up everyone as Karis. About to get burned out by Jackie. If they get that kill, the culling goes into the Crescent Guard. Tube with a Sterex and a Dream will mean nothing. Tien continues to run the three Talon Strike and a Titanic Hydra is enough for another knockup. And WE with all the setup in the world find nothing. Ocean Soul for Top Esports. They don't even lose a member. Baron is up. Guess where they're heading? Guess where they're heading? Really lovely public execution start. They force their way through the bushes. WE can't hold their lines. Monkey just doesn't get to do anything. Cube and Karis try to pounce and get 10% of Jackie's health bar, if that. He's still got flash. He's still got barrier. Cube then tries to help peel for his bot lane, but About sends the full culling into a Crescent Guard. Back to life. Baron's being started. It's going to get jumped on by Cream. Will likely die and does. Monkey's got a Grand Starfall. He can get into this pit. Is he going to bother? Karis is scouting. Here's that Starfall. Oh, it's a Hail Mary. He's just going to get burned out. Wait, that's quite low. Doesn't get the smite fight win. Does have the double smites. You know what? The fact that came down to a flip. Little bit dicey there, Top Esports. Don't know whether that needed to be the case. Either way, from 900 gold diff to 6,000. Medjai's for Cream. Oh, About. No, 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 no. Rocket Belt brings low the Lucian. The weirding was so weird that Lucian just couldn't handle it. Twofold Hex. They need some wards, and they need them now. A lot of turrets to pick up for top esports as well. They've only gotten 2 outers. Cube's going to try and jump onto Fongyue, who flashes away, survives. But now Cube might now be in danger. Public execution, tidal wave follows, and the chain is pretty nasty. Decent amount of healing with his Darkened Blade. Cream needs to leave. They're a little bit deep from him. Ran into a few too many members, but over comes Tien looking perhaps for a bit more. Monkey wins the smite fight on the Krugs. When becomes Lightning is out. Dusk and Dawn is done for Tien as well. All the while, Jackie's just in mid taking inhibitor turrets, by the way. There's so much gold to be gained. 3,500 gold power play already. Likely going to be more here, bluntly. Hex Optics done. Green Rocket belts forwards, looks for the weirding. Karis needs to back away, hops back. Needs to be a bit aware of those passive autos. Ow! Loses the mirror image. This is looking pretty tough at this point. Nora's down to 10%. The Breath of Life, goodbye. Cube just not tanky. The culling comes down and does nothing at all. It's the cuddling. Gives you a warm hug. Milio's warmer. Inhibitor turret number 2 under siege in this bot lane. Tien will join Zuian in taking that one. About chunked low by a weirding. Ow. At this point, WE, you need to find something now. But the public execution says instead top esports will find something now. Namely the Nexus turrets, namely Cream of the Fountain. Diving for the laughs of it. But the most important prize they find is the Nexus. 2-0 for top esports, and WE had no answers to them in these dragon fights.